Hey guys, it's Anne and welcome back to the Stationery Junkie. Today I'm sharing my final 2026 planner lineup, and if you have watched my previous video where I talked about my version 1 plans, I will link it up if you haven't had the chance to watch it, you'll probably notice something familiar. After going through everything that worked for me in 2025 in my last video, I realized I didn't need to reinvent my whole system, so most of the tools that supported me this year still make sense for how I want to work and how I plan. So my initial lineup ideas ended up staying pretty much the same, which honestly feels very good. This video is a full walkthrough of what I'm carrying into 2026 and why these choices still feel right for me. So let's get on with it. So I have all of the books that I'm looking to use for next year. Let's start off first with the stuff that I'll be carrying into 2026 in terms of this year, 2025. First off is my currently inked journal, which is housed in a 2025 Take a Note A6. I mentioned in my last video that I'm using this as a regular notebook of sorts, but then I use the layout and the structure of this planner to document all of my currently inks. So I walked through this notebook in the last video, but basically since I have yet to fill up like other months or like the other layouts in this planner, I will still be carrying it over to 2026 to continue to capture every pen that I use and every ink that I used with that pen. So this is going to remain the same for next year. Planner slash journal that will be carried over to 2026 is this 2025 Hours Research Journal that I use currently as my creative journal. I do not mind that it is a dated planner. I use this journal to dump all of my creativity and a place for me to unwind and relax by playing with all of my stationery supplies. And I will be continuing this in 2026 because I still have a couple more weekly spaces to fill up with all of my stickering, all of my stamping, and all of that fun stuff that I like to use up to be able to use my stash, of course. So all of the creative fun stuff are going to be continuing over to 2026 until I finish up everything, every page in this journal. So I'm really excited about this, and I don't feel compelled to buy the 2026 version because I have yet to fill up this one. So again, this is gonna come with me next year. And you're seeing my Owl Paper B6 planner journals. I know that these are the 2025 AVEC-like books, meaning it's a 2-book system. But because my 2026 Owl Paper planner journal has yet to arrive, so this is just a placeholder, I will still be in a B6 2-book system from Owl Paper. So I'm really excited about that because next year's layouts are going to be a little bit different / very similar to this year, albeit a different change in the layout of, if I'm not mistaken, the future log, or the inclusion of a habit tracker spread, and also the fact that the 2026 planner journal will be kind of like dual language because aside from English, Marissa put in some Spanish related headings and layouts in the 2026 version. So this is going to be still my main planner that will capture everything that I do for work and personal. So I'm not going to be separating work and personal planning. It's all going to be living in this 2-book system. So that's what I'm also carrying over for 2026, albeit this is going to be a 2026 book for sure. Now let's get into the actual 2026 planners that I'll be using next year, starting off with the Jibun Techo Days that I will be using as a health log, health journal. So last year, or rather in 2025, I was in a Hobonichi weeks that I've used as a health planner, and I'm down to December. So I'm actually filming this video November 30, so tomorrow is December 1. I am going to finish everything until December, so I'm not going to be abandoning this Hobonichi weeks because, well, the Jibun Techo starts in January anyway. So I'm still gonna be in this planner for my health logging until December. And so far, I'm really happy that I've been so consistent tracking everything health-wise, physical and mental health related in the Hobonichi weeks. And the reason why I'm shifting over to the Jibun Techo is to try a different book, try a different planner. But the system remains the same. The planning remains the same. Basically, what I do in the Hobonichi weeks, I will carry over to this planner. And if you haven't had the opportunity to watch how I do my health planning, I will link up the video about how I use my health planner so you can have an understanding on how I'm going to use this, because although this is a Jibun Techo, the layouts are completely different from the Hobonichi weeks. The structure and the intention behind it remains the same, in a sense that yearly tracker will still be the same, wherein I will track my steps, definitely. So for this kind of yearly tracker, that's very similar to the Hobonichi yearly overview. So right now I use it as a step count tracker. So this kind of color coding system will be carried over to this planner. So it's just a different, or a rather bigger footprint, but the purpose of this yearly overview will remain the same. And then the other extra pages here will be probably I'm gonna be using as a collections page as well. I have yet to fully decide what I want to do on the actual beginning pages that are mostly lists pages, like the free list. There's 100 wishes list here. I am actually thinking of the 100 wishes list as gonna be something that's similar to my 100 of the Hobonichi weeks. I would list down 100 things that made me happy. But basically, the monthly section will be the same way that I track here in the Hobonichi weeks, wherein I track my weight, my step count, and I'm also gonna be tracking my husband's blood pressure numbers because he doesn't like tracking things, so I'll be the one to do that. And for the Gantt chart here, I will be using it as the tracker that I use here at the back, wherein I have like a list of things or a list of habits that I keep track of every single day, and I will put that here in the Gantt chart below the monthly section. So again, it's really just the same philosophy of how I use my health planner. For the daily section, this is going to be a little bit different because most of the things I put here in the notes section of Hobonichi weeks, but it's more of like a tracker based kind of thing, meaning it's like graphs and tables and stuff. So what I'm going to be doing here, my weekly food log here that I log in my breakfast, lunch, and dinner snacks, the medication that I take, my physical and mental health situation, I will put here in the daily section. So I'll devise a way of sectioning the daily section to actually log all these important things. And I'm mostly going to be using the left-hand side of this daily page, and the right side will be for daily journaling. That is the intention, because I want to keep this planner as a log of everything health related. That means physical and mental health. So the daily journaling, I want to put that back into my routine. That's pretty much how I plan to use the Jibun Techo, and I'm really excited about it because this is going to be my first year using this planner, and I'm going to be decorating at least the cover. And as I mentioned, the daily section, I will be probably doing a trial period of how I'm going to divide up this left-hand side and how the daily section is going to be looking like, basically. So that is the intention for this Jibun Techo planner. Next, I have a Hobonichi Weeks, a Moomin Hobonichi Weeks that I put in this really amazing cover that I bought here in Taiwan via Shopee. So this is the Hobonichi Weeks that I will be using as a language planner. So if you recall, if you've been here long enough, I did do a trial of using a Hobonichi Weeks, repurposing this old weeks that I haven't used fully as a language planner, and it has worked really well in a sense that I have more or less developed a daily habit of logging in my daily studies in Italian. So basically the layout layout of what I use the monthlies for, what I use the yearly tracker for, like basically the same kind of like what I do with the health planner, wherein I have like color coded tracking for what I do that day, whether it's listening, reading, writing, speaking, Italian, I would log it here. And the monthly section would be for pretty much logging again what exactly did I do. So anytime that I miss updating this, it will be easily backtracked in the monthlies because I keep log of everything. So it will be the same format of how I use the weeks in my new 2026 Hobonichi week. So monthlies, the weekly section, I do refreshing. I keep on changing the layout of the weekly section because in the beginning, I wasn't really sure how to use this planner for language learning. So I did a lot of like trial and error in terms of what the weekly layout is going to look like, from a 3-column spread to now I'm back to doing it the usual way, like this usual layout. And I just use the left-hand side for logging in what I did for that day. And now, very recently, I do like mini journaling in the language, in my target language, so that I can also practice my writing skills, that muscle to write. I am trying to practice my writing. So if there are words that I don't remember, then I will just put a placeholder. I really just need to practice to get into the habit of practicing writing. So I'm very happy with the way I have set this up. And with regards to the notes section, it's just gonna be basically an overflow, or what I do here is I take notes for my weekly tutoring lessons with my Italian teacher, and also some exercises that I do on my own, my self-studying exercises, I do it here. So it's basically gonna be the same format here in the 2026 Hobonichi weeks. And I am going to be transferring to this language planner tomorrow because this one starts in December. I'm so excited. And if you, I don't know, for those of you who have bought the Hobonichi weeks for 2026, did you notice how smooth the paper is? Much smoother than 2025. I don't know. Maybe it's because it's a new planner, but I just, feel a little bit different about it. Good in a way, because I feel like the paper is a lot smoother. So that's a great thing. And yeah, I'm so glad that I have a system now how to track things. The goal is to use up this pretty planner same way that I have used my health planner Hobonichi weeks. I've been really consistent with my health tracking here, and that is also the goal this time for language, because I will be setting my goals for next year sometime perhaps in December, and this is my tool to help me reach my goal of actually holding a conversation in Italian with my husband. So that is the goal, and that is how I plan to use this weeks as a language planner. All right, let's get into this 5-year A6. This is the first time I'm using a 5-year journal from Hobonichi, and I'm so excited because aside from it being my first time, this is also the first time that I'm using such a pretty cover. Moomin. Oh, I love Moomin. Although I'm not super obsessed with Moomin, I like it. I love it. And I'm really happy to have picked up this discreet navy blue cover that has a debossing Moomin design. And this 5-year journal is going to be my memory keeper for basically my married life. I already did a 5-year diary before, but it's more of like micro journaling of the daily things that have happened to me. But this time around, I'm switching up the intention of this 5-year diary, wherein I want to memory keep my marriage and my relationship with my husband by detailing what we do every day, like our experiences together. I know that in my situation, my husband works long hours. He works in a restaurant. He's a chef. So he really doesn't have time to be journaling, to be honest. So I would like to do that for us. So I would like to keep track of our 5 years together in the marriage. Like, it's basically like a personal diary of our marriage, of the two of us, what we do, even if we have a very different schedule. On our common day offs, we would go somewhere and hang out and stuff like that. So all of that will be documented here. And I chose the A6 just to manage things. That is the intention behind this 5-year journal. Last but not the least in my 2026 planning journal lineup is this A6 Arts and Science Hobonichi in the mustard Tragen cover. Guys, it's Tragen, not Tragen. It's a German word. So I am using this lovely, lovely cover. It's my first time using a Tragen and I'm so obsessed with it. I'm so glad I picked it up. And I'm using it as a cover for my A6 Arts and Science Hobonichi planner. And whenever I'm in the mood for it, I'm gonna switch up this Tragen with the 5-year because the 5-year A6 fits wonderfully in this Tragen cover. So this one will be, the intention behind this planner will be a goal book. So basically it will be summarizing and synthesizing all of the tracking and all of the monitoring that I'm doing in all of my planners, because yes, I do have a health journal. I have a language planner. I have my main planners for work and personal, and this book will basically hold everything related to my goals. So once I am able to set my goals for next year, this planner will hold everything related to my goals. I guess I will need a setup video how to use this as a goal book. Truth be told, I am still fleshing out how I'm going to use each section for the intention of it being a goal book, because this is gonna be my first time using one. I've never had a goal book before. I do have some accessories that I wanted to quickly talk about, and I've mentioned it before that this Hobonichi Weeks notepad is going to supplement my language planner here with the Hobonichi Weeks for any overflow of notes. So because I did not think about getting a mega, I am not sure why I have not thought about a mega, because I've never used the Hobonichi Weeks mega. So I thought about just get an ordinary one and then get a notepad. So that's fine. Maybe next year when I am going to be thinking about my language planner, I'll consider having a mega. But so far, this idea is like palatable to me, like it's gonna work. And I also bought these sticky notes, these foldable sticky notes from Hobonichi that I am going to be using as like a small tip-in for my planners for any overflow ideas and brain dumps and stuff like that. I'll be using it all throughout my planners and journals whenever there's a need to. So that is the intention of all these small accessories. And that's my final lineup for 2026. It feels nice to go into the new year with a system that already works for me instead of starting from scratch. And I'm really happy with these choices, and I'm excited to settle into them once January rolls in. And if you're planning your own 2026 lineup, feel free to share what you're using in the comments. I always love seeing what everyone chooses and how different planners fit different lives. It's actually my favorite planner video topic. So please do share if you have anything to say, or if you want to share your lineup for next year. And I just want to thank you so much for watching and hanging out with me today. I will see you in the next one.